Alright, this is a beginner's guide to Civ 5, so this is for multiplayer, single player, whatever. It's going to be mostly focused on multiplayer because we have a game coming up, hopefully with 7 people over the Christmas break, so this is kind of for my friends to just get a crash course on what they should be looking for in a multiplayer game. So let's just start. So when you spawn, you generally want to scout before you settle, because you might find like a natural wonder here that you might be able to move in range of, or another reason to move, like if you had, say, like 3 luxuries here. But generally you just want to settle in place. And then for your first tech, pretty much always is pottery, because you want to be able to build a shrine to get religion. The alternative opener is mining if you have a bunch of forests here, which we do, but that's not a good example. And then for production, since they're Aztecs, maybe I'd normally do the Jaguar, but this is just a general guide, so we'll do Scout. So if you go bottom left and do show queue, then you can have a queue of things instead of choosing each one as the production finishes. So this is what your city screen looks like. I normally click production focus, but if you don't want to be managing your citizens, I would go default or food. Production is the best if you're, yeah, again, if you're looking at it all the time, but food is probably the best if you're not going to look at anything. So just scouting around, you want to try and gradually get out all the clouds around like 10 tiles away from your capital, so you know all the good settle spots. And you want to be looking for spots to settle. So here is a good settle here, beside a mountain for an observatory. 2 luxury resources in the vicinity. So build order is always scout, unless again, unless you went mining, you might want a worker to chop down these forests. And then, so it'll be scout, shrine, and then perhaps worker. So we got a pop ruin that's extremely good, so this is a great start. And we can see that Morocco's right there. Okay, so now that we've gone over the build order, we want to be looking for settling spots, so we probably have one here on this hill as a blocker city from Morocco. We probably have one up here by the chocolate on the mountain, and then we still have one to discover over here, probably along this river somewhere. Social policy, always tradition, unless you're going to go liberty, because you've discovered a lot of luxury resources. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, because this is a duplicate. That's a duplicate. We could settle this 5. So generally, if you want growing liberty, you want to have 6 or 7. So a good rule of thumb is if you're liberty, you want 1 luxury per city. If you're tradition, you probably want 1.5. And that's about the same rule for workers. For liberty, you want 1 worker per city. For tradition, you probably want 1.5. So we have another die. So yeah, it's a good thing we are going tradition, because these are lots of luxuries, but they're not duplicates. So if people decide to not trade with us, then we're going to have a huge happiness problem. Okay, so normally you're looking for workers from these city-states to steal, but since I don't see any, we'll probably have to make one before we start to build settlers. So Mongolia is a scary civ, so we're going to want to settle this city here defensively. And then for tech, early game, once you get the first like 3 or 4 crucial ones, like pottery, animal husbandry, mining, you want to get the techs that allow you to improve your luxury resources. So for dyes and sugar, we need a calendar to make a plantation, and then we'll need the masonry to clear this marsh on the sugar. So our opening tradition, and since we're opening tradition, we don't need to build a monument because legalism provides a free monument. And then we're stealing whatever workers we can, especially early, to snowball our game. Okay, when you're building settlers, you want to be on production focus, and then you want to make sure that you're working the max production, so these food tiles are doing nothing. You won't starve your city when you're building settlers. And then another good thing to do is chop down your forests while you're building settlers, because they also give like lump sum production. Great library generally is a noob trap if there's AI in the game. If there's not AI in the game, you still don't want to build it until you have your early game set up, otherwise you're going to set yourself too far behind. See how that settler went from 7 turns to 4 turns? It's because of those forest chops. And when you start building settlers, you generally don't want to stop until you're completely done building them. So then your first city settle, generally we'd want this one, because we'd be rushing Morocco for this spot. But since we don't have any military that way, it's like obviously we're going to lose it to the warriors, so you got to try and keep your settlers as safe as possible. And with settlers, you generally, if you lose them, you're going to set yourself back super far, so you got to like move them one tile at a time if they're not escorted. Okay, Pantheon. You'll pretty much always get one if you build a shrine as soon as you get your 2 first scouts out. You should pick whatever you have for luxury resources, so in this case we'll go Earth Mother, because we have 2 iron in the capital. And we're going to be working the iron pretty early on to build our settlers, so we should get a religion. Probably not first religion, but we will get one. And to make sure, we can just buy the other iron nut tile and work that. So right now when we're building settlers, we're also making faith, so we're getting 3 faith per turn. So we're like 40 turns from religion, say. Okay, so we were slow on the settle, so they kind of screwed us over here. We'll have to go back a tile. It is what it is. So we'll do one more city anyway, even though they took the spot that we were probably going to go for, so we'll do one on this hill, assuming Morocco doesn't do it. One up here. And that'll be good anyway, I think. And like I said, we need 1.5 workers per city, so we want 6 workers here, so we're only at 4, so we'll have to build 1 or 2. So again, in terms of your workers, you want them to be working, or improving your luxury resources first, and then your bonus resources, and then just farms, and then mines, probably in that order. And then when you have 2 or 3 copies of your luxury resources, you should trade them away and get a unique luxury from someone else. Oh, the AI won't do it, but it is in your best interest to trade with other players. Have I met anybody that'll trade with me? The AI is not that good at this, so. Imagine this scenario with 8 more happiness, probably. But that is one of the benefits of going tradition. There's way more happiness in the tree than liberty. think the AI fucking hates us. And once you have a granary built in a city or two, then you want to have caravans. You want to have your max amount of caravans always, feeding either food to the capital or food to a strong city. So then we improved our luxuries, so now we're getting to be happy again, so should start growing any minute. Alright, the AI declared war, so I'll probably stop the playthrough and just go over the rest of the game. So whenever cities reach the population of the tiles away from your capital, so like this one we're 3 tiles in between, 1, 2, 3, that's when you should build roads, because each road costs a gold per turn, and then you get a gold for every citizen connected. So we can build this connection and it'll be flat 0 gold, and then as the city grows we'll get more and more from the city connection. So I just want to go over the tech tree. So generally the bottom of the tech tree is military units, and the top is more tech and culture. There's a lot of milestones in the tech tree, like the things that are most important. Like, for example, ironworking is kind of a nothing burger, right? Like it only unlocks the swordsman, heroic, epic, whatever. But something like metal casting, the workshop is a very, very powerful building, as well as like the university in education. So just to kind of quickly go through the most important ones. So we got workshops, universities in education, machinery, scientific theory, industrialization, any modern era tech. Like all of these are, maybe besides refrigeration, but these will all get you ideology, so they're all very important. I kind of skipped over the main military pushing tech, so this is artillery and cavalry and military silence and dynamite, so that's a really good timing attack. So if somebody goes scientific theory and has rushed it and they don't even have gunpowder yet, like as you can see, if you click on scientific theory, they never even get gunpowder, and you say got universities and then clicked on artillery, you're going to be getting artillery as they're getting muskets, so you're just going to slaughter them. So you kind of have to keep track of where people are in the tech tree, and the way to do that is keep track of tech cost. So I'll just click on that. So as you can see, oh, I guess somebody already has compass in this game. So you see these are all 627 science. As soon as somebody researches it, it goes down 5%. So in a 6-player game, if you're the last person to get it, it has a 25% science discount. So it's kind of a comeback mechanic, but it also is a way to keep track of who is where. So if, say, the tech leader you get a notification and it says they entered the Renaissance era. If you find out which tech they entered, you can kind of figure out where they're at and what their plan is a little bit. So say if they enter through acoustics, you know they're going for scientific theory or architecture to get one of the architecture wonders, Taj Mahal or Porcelain Tower. If they enter, say, gunpowder, you know they're taking a military path towards military science or chemistry or something. Because there's no reason to go gunpowder other than to go to war, right? Like, this wonder is not worth it enough to build up your civ. Compared to, like, if somebody goes banking, it's a lot less scary. It gets hard when, say 3 people are in Renaissance and 3 people have acoustics and 2 people have banking and 1 person has gunpowder, and you're like, oh, who's the gunpowder guy? Then it gets a little harder. But if you keep tabs on people with spies and whatnot, then it's not as hard. So just to continue with the significant techs, plastics is a huge one because you get infantry, which is like probably the best defensive unit or one of is just artillery can't kill it. Great War aircraft like the planes in flight can't kill it. It just kind of can take so much damage until there's bombers or tanks. Atomic Theory also, if somebody enters Atomic through Atomic Theory, they're probably going to do the Manhattan Project and probably going to go nuclear fission to get an atomic bomb. And then Info Era, the nuclear missile is a very scary tech. Satellites, if somebody enters through satellites, they're probably going science victory because this Hubble Space Telescope facilitates the science win, basically. 2 free scientists, and then you can build spaceship parts. So yeah. I'll go over social policies real quick. So, as I said, basically tradition always, unless you're confident that you have a Liberty game or land or Civ. And then you want to fill rationalism always, basically. Unless you're super far ahead and you want to like kill somebody with honor, but pretty much always rationalism. But that's not unlocked to the Renaissance era. So there's normally a period of time in medieval where you're done tradition, but you need to pick a policy that's not rationalism, but not tradition. So commerce is good. It's just a flat 25% gold. Piety's fine. Honor's fine. But yeah, then as soon as you get to Renaissance, then you want to start working on rationalism. The reason for that is because if you go honor or something, you're not going to be relevant in the game. It doesn't matter your combat bonuses when you're fighting eras behind units. So somebody with rationalism is going to have quite possibly double the science of somebody who does not have it. Just going to go over victory conditions. So there's cultural, diplomatic, science, domination, and time. And time is just like the score at the end of the game if you reach max turns, which is 330. So cultural victory, you need to have more tourism than everybody else has culture for the entire period of the game. So if I'm making 50 culture for 100 turns, somebody needs to make 100 tourism for 50 turns to catch me, basically. So that's very hard to do unless you're ahead in science and are also ready to defend yourself. Diplomatic victory, you basically need to ally the city-states and get enough votes for the Congress to vote you world leader. So generally everybody's gonna vote you down. So like you're not gonna get any help. So you need to basically get 35 votes, and each subsequent vote goes down in the amount of delegates you need. So the first one's 35, next one's 33, next one's 31. So like you can put a lot of pressure on the game through this, but it's pretty hard to win because each city-state that's voting for you, once they're dead, you lose their votes, right? So if they can kill your city-states faster than the delegate decrease to win, it's quite hard as well. Science victory happens probably. It's kind of science victory does happen, but generally the game is over militarily before then. So science normally is how the game ends if there's a stalemate. So if the two game leaders are on opposite sides of the Pangea map, neither one of them's like coastal, like inland but across the map, then the game can end via science. The time victory never happens because if you're a competent player, then you're going to win science before the game runs out of turns. So domination is generally how the game ends. Either you knock out a civ or two and everybody concedes to you because you're ahead in science and military, or maybe it'll go all the way through the game, and each era you might like eliminate another civ, or maybe people across the map will kill each other and then you conquer both empires. But generally around turn, say 120, right when you're getting around schools and nothing's happened, you want to be thinking about your win condition. So I'm not saying you should never try cultural or diplomatic victory, but it's very hard, and the Civ 5 is a war game. So if you're going to win diplomatic victory, like if you're on pace to do it, you're going to be attacked by everybody, right? So you still need to have a competent military, you still need to have production, you still need to be good in science to have relevant units to defend yourself. So if you're looking for advice, I would say you never want to completely glass cannon science. Like, you don't want to just click on scientific theory and never get muskets, because you're going to die to somebody who does get them. But you don't want to rush military either, because somebody who prioritizes the science buildings is going to be ahead of you in science, and by the time you get to them, they're going to have caught you in military and then outpace you for the next military unit. So you want to have a balanced approach. You want to choose a win condition and then see how the game unfolds, with probably your priority on a domination victory or a science victory. Oh, one thing I forgot is specialist slots. So when you get a specialist building, say a market or a university, there's two little bubbles that show up for the specialist, which is basically a citizen, but you could assign them to a building in your city. You want to always be working your scientist slots. There's really good synergy with rationalism, +2 science for every specialist, and those specialist slots on those buildings give great person points to get more great scientists throughout the game. Great scientists, you generally want to either bulb, like use them in the bulk science for something specific, or you want to hold on to them till a late game. Because scientists and writers and all the other great people, when you use them in bulk, they calculate their last 5 or 10 turns. So like a great artist, or a great writer will be 12 culture times 10, so it would be 120 culture. But if you waited until my culture is 150 per turn, then you're going to get 1500 culture, right? So the longer you wait, the more it pays off. But at the same time, if you never use any early, the people that are going to be ahead of you, because they're realizing their gains, I guess. So yeah, just another thing to tack on in the end. All right.